Even I could log in before, but now I cannot. It
Yeah, because
says,
we when he must have did something when he created the podcast, because we'll be podcasting out of that website. So he must have broke something on the password when we podcast. We'll fix it. As soon as he sees the message, he'll fix it. So I just want to just remind you guys that the OWL TV is just self-paced. And you guys got to get started because some of the activities are group activities. So where you guys are talking to one another, but it's self-paced. So I think you'll get some good things out of it. Again, all the activities you could probably do in an hour and a half. They're not really long. They don't. Um, a lot of them, as Shamila said, a lot of them really deal with your teacher beliefs, what you believe as a teacher. So it shouldn't. I'm mainly concerned with the our vision of what you believe. There, you're gonna find out. You should learn a lot about learning theories, which is important. Um, so I think that's going to be. I think that our vision is a really good course. Actually, that course is vetted by a professor from. That course is actually vetted by Liberty University in America. So I created that course as a part of my doctoral program, and it was vetted as a good instructional design course. Okay. So that's not something that I just created. That course actually went through the vetting process. All right. So the course has been moderated. All right. So how's everyone doing today?
Good.
Good, good, good.
Good.
Yesterday I kind of wrote you guys a long soliloquy about this, staying motivated. You know, it's really hard to do multiple things when you got a lot of things going on. And what happens is you tend to do things for other people and not do things for yourself. And eventually it hurts you because you're doing things short term and not long term. Um, People who are successful tend to do things long term. They think about the long term. And people who just get by, they do things to fix immediate problems. I learned this a long time ago when I was a manager, and I was in the military, and then I was a principal of schools. You know, I learned that you can spend all your day putting out short term fires, and that's what you'll do. Every day you'll come to work putting out short term fires, and your organization will never be able to advance because you're worrying about things right in front of you instead of thinking about preparing and being proactive for the future. So get yourself in a mindset where you take a day or you take a week or you take a month and you put out all those fires that need to be put out. You address it, right? And sometimes that means you have to be kind of a jerk, but you address it. This is going to get done, this, and you put them all out. And you have a resolve. And I call it being stubborn. Once you put those fires out, now you're only worrying about the future. Because you address those issues, those short-term issues. Now you try to get everyone around you to know that you think in the future so you can build and be successful and really be happy. No one's happy with putting fires out every day. You get stagnated. Um, and this is anything in your life. This is work, this is personal, this is your friends. If you find yourself, it's how you deal with your car. You know, I saw this a lot growing when I was doing community service, and I was teaching adults who, you know, were going back to school for the first time, you know, because they dropped out of high school or whatever. And I noticed that most of them, I can't say every single one of them, but most of them were really short-term thinkers, short-term. And the ones that were longer-term thinkers, they always had an excuse. So the ones who had ambition, it was always, Mr. Ray, I can't do this because you don't know how hard it is, Mr. Ray. I got 3 kids and I have to do this. And I've been hearing that story for the last 25 years. And the difference is there's other people who are actually self-started, self-regulated, self-determined, regardless of the obstacle that jumps in their way, because there will be obstacles. That's just a part of life. Everyone has obstacles. I don't care if you're rich, poor, healthy, unhealthy, French, Italian, Catholic, Muslim. Everyone has obstacles that comes up before them. The people that look like everything is well put together, the people who are, in fact, successful people have the most obstacles, because as they move forward, they're putting themselves in the situation where more and more things are coming in front of them. Okay, but they have learned how to deal with them and address them and be proactive about it. And sometimes even, you know, not sometimes, but all the time, tear down those barriers. So, you know, and I just noticed that Saudi Arabia is a place where people become very stagnant. It's easy to be very stagnant here, right? That's probably the most, that's the one thing I don't like about this country. It's easy to kind of just get into a routine in your teaching, in your personal life, in everything. It's just kind of easy to kind of just get in a routine, because in Saudi Arabia, you can just get by. You know, this is a country where you can just get by. You know, you just get by. Whereas
You
in
get
other
lost in the desert, yes. Lost
whereas,
in the desert.
whereas in whereas in other countries, getting by can be difficult. Like in America, getting by is hard. Getting by is not hard here, right?
No,
In America, you know, you might
you have to compete.
you might have to not you might have to go to sleep hungry, you know, trying to get by, because, you know, what is it? Today is November the 21st. In America, you get paid twice a month. Most people get paid twice a month because they get paid bi-weekly. But some people who are government assistants, or some people who work for themselves, or some people who have low paying jobs, they got to get by. And that means at the end of by November the 21st, they spent all their money. They don't have any more money. So they're waiting for another 9 days to come before they can get. So, and that means they might have to sacrifice what they eat. You know, they might have to sacrifice a bill. They might have to, their lights might need to get turned off. You know, they might have to eat tuna fish sandwiches for 9 days. They might have to eat ramen noodles for 9 days. In Saudi Arabia, you don't have to do that, because there's always a way to get by, and you go to sleep with your belly full. Right? In Saudi Arabia, you can go to sleep with your belly full. Right? Just getting by. Whereas other places in the world, you know, getting by means, other places in the world means a hardship. Your belly's not full, right? You got to walk to work. You know, it's a hardship. You can't get your hair done. Can't get your hair cut. You know, there's a hardship. You know, and then if you have family and other people that you're responsible for, it's a greater hardship. So because of that, this becomes a very attractive place to people. It becomes very attractive because all you got to do is just get by. So, but the problem is you're not satisfied because you get to a point and you go, what do I have?
You never move.
You're staying right in the same spot. And so and even though in America it's hard, it forces you and it forces motivate people to go to want more than just getting by. Because people go, okay, I need to make sure that I have enough for not just next week, but next month and the month after that. And then other people go, I need to make sure I have enough for next year, in the next 10 years. So you get people saying, you know, I gotta, you know, you get 30-year-old people, 25-year-old people in America saying, I gotta worry about my retirement. And that may be 30 years away. They're thinking, I'm saving this for my retirement. Because they just don't want to get by. Where here, you never hear anybody talk about their retirement. I never heard the word retirement here at all. And I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, maybe because, do you think it's because their family oriented, like they're taking care of their families?
Well, no, because even if you have because even that's even worse, because now you become a burden on someone else, right? You become a burden on someone else. And then also you're not creating generational wealth either. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're bearing a burden on someone else, you're not creating generational wealth. Right? So what happens for me, what happens when I die, I want to leave I want to leave my kids with something. I don't want to be a burden on them, right? I don't want them to say, oh, how are we going to put this guy in the ground? How are we going to live? Right? So I want to give them something. And then this is how you create generational wealth. It's about success. And it's about being happy. And it's about going on vacations. And it's about being satisfied. And so I just wanted to take some time out to say, you know, take time for yourself to relax, number one, because that's important. It's important to relax and chill. And number two, take time for yourself to make sure that you are successful. And, you know, taking courses like this hopefully will help build your mindset. So it helps you propel you to do the next things you need to do in life. Not just doing something that makes somebody else rich. You know, the things that you're doing in your schools right now is doing it to make somebody else rich. You know, that's the one that makes someone else rich. Start doing some things to make you rich. All right. Because you guys should be able to take this information, especially with the technology that we have now, and package it in your own way and sell it online. There's something called YouTube. And people make thousands and thousands of dollars on YouTube. Doing what? Giving people information. That's all they do is give people information. And they make thousands and thousands of dollars. And you know where they get the information from? Someone else. It's not new information. It's information you can get off Google or off of other YouTube channels or out of a book or through your experiences. Think about it. Ryan's toy review. Anybody seen this channel? Ryan's Toy Review? Anybody know?
No.
All right, you guys should know this because most of you guys are elementary teachers. So a lot of your students, when they go home to watch YouTube, they're watching Ryan. And it's a little Ryan is a little. I think they're Japanese American. All right, the mother and the father, and they have a YouTube channel. And all they do on the channel is review toys. So Ryan plays with the toys. And the mother and the father play with him. And they do all these little funny, little stupid stuff that you would do with your kids anyway. They just put it on video and upload it to YouTube. Do you know how much Ryan makes a year doing just playing with toys? He makes 20.
No.
He made, I think they said, with endorsements, because now Toys R Us They put his face on the box now because kids
Oh.
want to see if Ryan plays with it. So if Ryan's face is on the box, they want to play with it. So now he has a deals with Toys R Us and other toy companies. Last year he made $27 million playing with toys. $27 million, and they've been making million. So when you first watched it, the channel a couple years ago, they were in a modest.
This one.
They were in a there you go. They were in a modest house, very modest. Now they're in this big house. You know, they're in this big mansion, and they're flying all over the world. And interesting enough, you know how somebody always wants hater. You know, you always got haters. So people start digging back into the the mother's background, and it turned out she was like caught for shoplifting out of a store recent, a couple years back. And the point, and that doesn't mean she's a bad person. She probably just had bad times, but she was able to take a simple idea with her son playing with toys, and now they're millionaires. They're multimillionaires. Why can't you do the same thing? You're no different than that family. They're not doing anything special. Okay, you're no different than me. Okay, I'm not the smartest guy. I left my first when I was in undergrad. I didn't care. All I wanted to do was serve in the military. I left. I had a 2.0 and go mentality. 2.0 and go. 2.0 is like the lowest grade that you can get to graduate college in America. Because I didn't think what I need to be smart for. I'm just going to go and kill people. I don't need to be smart. All right. I don't need to have book smarts. I got street smarts. I just want to go out there and I want to serve in the military. And now look at me now. If you change your mind, if you change your mindset, you change your destination. An undergrad, I had a different mindset. I didn't have anyone to mentor me or coach me to tell me that this was not an appropriate mindset to have. Right? But the main thing is I wasn't self-regulated and I wasn't self-determined. And these are things that I think that we cover in our vision. Self-regulation, self-determination. You have to help self-regulate your students and have them become self-determined learners. You have to be the same thing. And the interesting thing is, if you are self-regulated, you're self-determined, it's easy because they see it, they see those qualities in you. Right? So it's easy to get a student to do something when you are that example. So Horace Mann, the father of American education, said, the teacher's job is just to be a statue that the students watch. All right. So you need to be a great example of what students should be in your mind. And that's why it's important to have teacher beliefs. All right. So I took a lot of your time already with that. It's 9:30. Let's go into the assignment for last week. Let me share my screen.
Shiny, same thing. Oh. Shiny, we can't hear you.
Is it her turn to present?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen so we can get the assignment. All right, everyone should be able to see my screen now.
Yes.
All right, so for this week, for this week, you had to read the articles. It was only like 4 pages of student-centered learning. You also had to watch the video. Okay. And then after you read the article and you watched the video, and there's also some pages from the book, a couple pages from the book, right? So it was the article, pages from the book, and then the 3-minute video. Then what? Hold on, that's not the right one.
There's someone's mic is disturbing the flow.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, Mike. Mute your mic, please.
It's Martha, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, mute your mic, please. I'm sorry, that's not the right one. Hold on.
It's Martha. She did.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Where is? Oh, I put it in the wrong spot. Gee whiz. I don't know why I did that. That should go into the read-ins and assignments. I got to merge that. All right, my bad. All right. So this week, what you had to do was look at the article and then write a 200-word summary for that app, Verso. Now, Verso, this week we mainly focus on learning profiling. And learning profiling is extremely important because you can't do anything with student-centered learning until you profile your students. You got to know who your students are. We talked about this in TESOL, right? But it's a very important step, and you never hear anyone talk about this. Now, so the question is, Mr. Ray, how do I profile my students online? How can I do that online, right? I only have 50 minutes. Well, you can do it online probably easier than you can do it in class with technology and these apps. So Verso is one of these apps that is a great learning profiling app, so you can get to know your students by simply asking them questions about what their wants, needs, and expectations are. And that's the idea that I want you guys to continue to really thrive on, is students' wants, needs, and expectations. What are their wants, needs, and expectations? Wants, needs, and expectations. Everybody say it with me. Wants, needs, and expectations.
Want, need, and what?
I'm serious. Say it with me. Wants, needs, and expectations.
Wants, needs, and
Want,
expectations.
need, and expectations. Want, need, expectations.
So, you know, when you're talking about being stubborn and taking time for yourself, ask yourself what do you want? What do you believe? What do you want? What do you need? And what do you expect? And if you ask yourself those 3 questions, you're going to find yourself knowing exactly what you need and how to get there. In order to self-regulate, help our students with stuff, somebody need to mute their mic again, please.
Martha,
No, not me.
In order,
it's Martha.
No, not me. There's nothing at myself.
so in order, okay, good. In order to get students to self-regulate, you really have to deal with their wants, needs, and expectations. You notice in the Our Vision, there's a form that says the I Believe form. Has anyone seen that form yet? The I Believe form? And it's what I believe, what I don't believe, and what I'm considering. That's a form we use a lot in the Our Vision. What I believe, what I don't believe, and what I'm considering. Okay? All right. So help students address their wants, needs, and expectations is going to help them self-regulate and help them become self-determined. Once you do that, you can do cooperative learning with them. You can do task-based learning with them. You do problem-based learning with them. But we often have problems, especially in classroom management or getting students motivated, because we haven't dealt with their wants, needs, and expectations. So how can you differentiate instruction? How can you personalize instruction if you don't know what someone wants? And think about it like this. You go into a store, okay, and the salesperson, you go into a shoe store, right? Renette, the salesperson just walks up to you and gives you a pair of purple shoes, purple stiletto shoes. And they say you can take them to the counter and pay for them. They're 500 reals. You're going to say, what? I don't want purple stiletto shoes. What is this? Right? And that's what we do as teachers. We give our students purple stiletto shoes. And the students go, what am I supposed to do with this? Right? Dr. Diane Lawson Friedman called, it's not something she termed, but she talks about this called the inert knowledge problem. The inert knowledge problem. And this is the big thing, a big problem that we have in education is that we teach things, we teach ideas, concepts, subjects to students, and they don't know what to do with it. So that we give them knowledge and they're like, okay, what did I do with this algebra? What do I do with this grammar? What do I do with this social studies? What do I do with it? Right? And a big part of the problem is before you teach someone, just like before you sell something to someone, you need to know why they're there. You need to know their wants, needs, and expectations. You have to know it. Just like the salesperson. Excuse me, how you doing today? How you feeling? Are you doing well? You're looking nice. I love your shoes. Wow, where do you get those shoes from? Oh man, how can I help you today? What brings you into the store today? Oh, you're looking for a pair of flats. What do you want them? Do you want leather flats? You want suede flats? Do you want some designs in the front? Why do you want flats? Are they for work? Are they walking around the house in? Are you planning on wearing them every day? What color makes you happy? What is your size? Do you like them to fit snug or you like them to be a little loose? Do you have a problem? I have this problem. My left foot is a little bit bigger, a little bit wider than my right foot. Is your left foot a little bit wider than your right foot? See, this is what good salespeople do. You don't see this in Riyadh or Saudi Arabia, unfortunately. You don't have good salespeople. In America, they're good salespeople, right? Because they make their money on commission, so they have to be good. Right? And they make you feel at home and they make you feel comfortable. And before you leave that store, you're going to buy something. They're going to make you buy something. I don't care if it's a keychain, a bag, you're going to buy something. Because they deal with your wants, needs, and expectations. Okay. They deal with your want, needs, and expectations.
It happens in Saudi, there's a market, it's souk market. If you go there, it happens exactly like that. You live there buying something.
Right. Yeah, you go a lot of souks because it's a more intimate affair. Very intimate. It's normally the business owner selling it to you, right? And he wants you to come back again and again and again. So you feel comfortable. Same thing with education. We're selling them something. We're selling them this information that they don't want to know. They don't want this.
Ray, excuse me, Ray, this is one of my questions in my in my interviews with I ask the people, I ask them to sell me this pen, and I tell them, they'd ask me, why you're asking me this? I tell them I want to see if you can sell the knowledge to the students.
Yes,
If you can
absolutely.
convince them to take it from you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no
And I think
different.
it's a silly question, and even my colleagues think
silly.
it's a silly question.
It's not silly.
But they don't know what my reason is for that,
Some of
why
the,
I'm asking it.
you know, that question is asked all throughout the world in top companies. In top companies. It's a very
I
basic,
did a lot of research to make that interview form. Ask Shani, she did the interview.
it's a basic
Hey,
question.
Shani?
It's a basic question, but it really deals with how what a person mentality is. All right. Tells you what type of person that person is too, how they answer that question. Okay. You know, one of the
Tells you how
one of
the
the
person
one of the
is.
tricks you have for that question is if somebody's really smart, they will go like this. So they you give them the pencil. Okay, sell me this pencil. Okay, they take the pencil and they'll say to you, I need you to write your name down on a piece of paper. And then you'll go, well, I don't have a pencil. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna sell it to you for 25 cents, you know. But so if you know
I sold it to them for $1,000. I sold the pen to them for $1,000. I said to them, you signed the check of $1 million, you can win it, but you have 2 minutes to sign.
Yeah.
You want my pen?
Right.
I need $1,000.
But,
They buy it.
But if you think about it, it's dealing with somebody's wants, needs, and expectations. That's how you sell the pencil, right? You have to deal with their want, need, and expectations. Right? If somebody doesn't want it, need it, or expect it, you're not going to sell it to them. So you have to create the want, the need, and the expectation, and that's what we need to do as educators. And I really believe it's easier to do online than it is in person. So this Verso app is an app that helps you do that. So who wants to share their screen first to share their response to the Verso app?
I have mine.
Say that again.
I have mine. I'm ready.
You want to share your screen? Go ahead, Renee.
Yes. Let me find it. How do I?
Do you know where you saved it? Just open it and then share.
Yeah, I know. But I cannot share when someone else is. I must be given permission to share.
No, I think
No,
it's
you
open.
should be able to go ahead and share.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Can you see anything on the screen?
With 0 rays.
Green. Okay. No.
Oh, hold
You
on.
need to.
Try it now.
He needs to give me permission.
Try now.
Okay. Okay, 1 minute. Now can you see it? No, wait. There. Okay?
Yeah, it's coming.
Can see it?
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Okay, here is mine. How the Verso app could help me know my students.
Mm-hmm.
I chose the topic of photosynthesis, and I gave my students this assignment on the Verso app. And on the Verso app, it helped me to know my students better by the following. I have some options to design a collaborative activity on the process of photosynthesis here. I gave the instructions here on the Verso app. And I use links and files and Google Drive and anything like that. I can use any of those. My objectives are written there. I want the steps to describe the process of photosynthesis. And the students can use in their presentation, they can use icons like the italic text, colors, links, videos, anything that they want. They can also use diagrams, models, images, words, videos, experiments, anything to explain the process of photosynthesis. They could share their thoughts freely and give feedback anonymously, so nobody will know who is saying something. Their names are covered. I could divide my students into groups for differentiation according to their learning styles. And they chose which way they wanted to present for me the process of photosynthesis. So here is the instruction that I gave them. After I gave the instruction, they could choose in which group they wanted to be. There was 4 groups. Group 1 is the people who like reading and writing. They have to write a paragraph on the process of photosynthesis to explain how this process happens. So they will write it and they will read the question and they will write it to me. The second group is the visual students. They would draw pictures and diagrams to show the process of photosynthesis. And group 3 is the kinesthetic students. They will do a practical experiment to prove that light is needed for the process of photosynthesis and then how it happens, how the light is processed from there. And group 4 is the auditory students. They will explain to the whole process of photosynthesis by step to the classmates, which are blindfolded. So they cannot see anything, they only hear. So they had to explain to them in that way. Then I allow the students to group themselves in whatever group they choose. And I found the following. I learned this about my students during the session. I had students with all 4 types of learning styles in my class. There were 25 students in my class. Only 2 students chose the reading and writing style to write the paragraph about photosynthesis. 11 of the 25 students used the visual style of learning and gave me some diagrams and pictures to show photosynthesis and the process of that. 8 students were kinesthetic learners. They did the experiment and they did various experiments to show me the process of photosynthesis. And 4 students were audio style learners. They wanted to hear and they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to write it. They didn't want to make diagrams. They just want to hear. And after that, they knew the whole process and they could tell me the whole process. So my conclusion after this, I need to focus in my class, in this class, more on the visual and kinesthetic styles of learning in my class, but I still have to prepare for my audio learning students and my reading and writing students so that I can accommodate them also in my class. And then my check-in and review and feedback of my students. With this Verso app, I could check on the progress and the well-being of every student in the different groups. I could follow up what they are doing. I could tell them, they could tell me if they need help and how they progress and if they understand the concepts and the vocabulary. I could supply learning intentions to them to guide them, and the students could respond privately on their dashboards to me. So nobody else knew what they were asking or what I was telling them personally, everyone. The teacher, I could read, I could review and check in the dashboards to reflect and identify the next step. If I see them getting stuck, I could help them and guide them to the next step. The students could reflect on their own learning and tell me what they learned, what they struggled with or what they needed help with, and how they can improve this in future. And they learned from their peers also. They saw all different ways of doing this, how to show me the steps of photosynthesis. And the students can apply the knowledge of the lesson in real life situations. because I also asked them, how do you use photosynthesis? So there's just a picture. I don't have my computer. All the diagrams and everything is on my computer. So there is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now your input.
Thank you. Thank you. Who wants to, anyone
I
have
need feedback
comments?
from the group.
Anybody have any comments about Renette's presentation?
That's
I didn't
very
go.
nice.
Go on. Go on.
Excellent. Especially she mentioned in slide 3, and she categorized the students. That very nice, Ranti. Excellent. You really give me a new idea that I can include in my slide as well. Thank you so much.
No, I
Yeah,
don't
me
have
too.
the.
I didn't know. I didn't know you can make a class. I just asked the students questions, and after the class, Zoom classroom, and then I send them the link, so they'll just reply. But this one, what I found out is for actually higher grades. Lower grades will not do the survey. You know, it's the Verso thing is about the survey, right? Right?
No, in your presentation, you can tell them anyway. They have to present to you in a way that they can. They have to bring the same concept to you, but whatever way they choose to. You put options. The point is you put options for them, and they can choose which way they want to present it to you. Some want to talk about it, some want to show you the pictures, some want to write it, whatever way they choose to do it. But the information comes across the same information, different ways. You can do it in any class.
Any other comments?
Like, okay, what I've come to find out, okay, it's like an online activity. Actually, it makes the students to focus on whatever you are teaching them.
Yes.
Yeah. We can also use it for the warm-up, right? We can post a question or a picture and talk about it for
Absolutely.
warm-up.
You could use it for warm up. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can we get someone
I
else?
would start with a video and explain the concepts of photosynthesis, the vocabulary and everything. That will be the introduction. And after that, they have to choose which way they will present to me. I don't
Also
have my
for the
diagram.
review and like an executive, they give me a high ordered answer, question answer, like if they answer me for the high ordered question, they can leave the class as an exit ticket, right?
Okay.
All right. And who wants to share their screen next? Any
And your
volunteers?
comment, right?
Any volunteers? You said me a comment? No, I told you it's good. You have. Can I see slide 4 again?
Yes. 4.
Yes.
This one.
Yeah. I mean, and let me see slide 2 again.
I mean, 2 or it's 4 or 3. This one.
Yeah, and so you got all this based on your interactions with the Verso app, which allowed you to create
Yes,
this
yes.
application. See, I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
put
what.
the activity on the Verso app,
Hmm.
and then the students had to report back to me via the Verso app, and I used it to make them do the activity.
Perfect. So you used it a little bit differently than I would use it, but that's you're using it in a real time, practical way. So we talk about
Yes,
practicality. So yeah,
yes.
I think it's good. I mean, and what I like most is you were able to take you're able to tap into students' needs by allowing them to, giving them several options to respond. Right?
Yeah, everyone had to choose whatever way they want to present it to me, as long as I got the information from them what I wanted.
So now and then then you look at how different students responded to this activity, then that gives you some real hard data on how you can do things next, or who needs to be in what groups, or what are some of the students' strengths and what.
So after this, I know my students and I know which way do they learn, what they prefer to learn. If you look at this, some want to learn with pictures and diagrams. Others want to do the experiment rather, they will learn from that.
Right.
And I experienced that in my classes before. Some students, especially boys, it's no use telling them to read or write something. They will not learn anything. But when they do the practical experiment, they know everything. They can tell you everything.
Yes.
Others, you can just tell them and they will know everything. And some want to see the pictures and follow the steps on the diagrams to know this concept. So I have to provide for most of my students in the class. So in this group, most of them like the pictures and diagrams to explain. And the others, the second group, the second largest group wanted to do the experiments to learn this concept. But they all learned the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, for me, the mission is accomplished because you're getting to learn things about your students via the app. All right, who's next?
Yeah.
Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? I'm gonna pick someone. All right. Let Martha, did you get a chance to do it? Martha?
Oh no, I didn't do any assignment.
All right.
Inshallah, next Saturday.
Okay.
I'll be ready.
Let's see. Zarin,
Yes.
you want to present?
I don't know how to share screen.
All right. It's really easy.
I have submitted in my assignment.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Yesterday.
This is technology class 2, so very easy. There's a green button. Unshare your screen, Renette. There's a green button at the bottom. It should be at the bottom of your Zoom application. It says share screen. You see it?
Yes, share content.
You see it?
I was saying if someone else is sharing the content, you cannot share.
Yeah.
I think
Unshare your, Renette, unshare your screen, please.
Unmute yourself. Renette, unmute.
And then, how do I unshare it?
Hold on a second.
Somebody
Just
else
stop
must share.
sharing.
All right, now I did it.
Okay, there, yes, yes.
All right.
I can.
Now try it, Zarin. Zarin, are you there?
Yeah, yes. You can see it.
You know your article, Ray, I read about it. Most of the pages, it's about digital immigrants and digital natives. So us, we are digital immigrants. We don't know about computers, but other students, like your students, are really good. They're born working on computers. So this article is good. How the students learn the language, how we learn the language.
Yes.
For example, in Saudi Arabia, Shiny, you've been here for years. Did you go to class and learn the language, but you can still speak something? Yes, Shiny.
She's speaking, but her mic is off.
Renette,
Yes,
did
I
you go
can speak,
to?
yes.
Yes, you can speak,
I
but just
understand, I can understand Arabic now. I understand everything they talk, but I speak little bit. But I know a lot of vocabulary. I can speak with words, but no, not sentences yet.
yeah, but
I cannot
listening.
make sentences, but I understand everything that they're talking. If they talk in Arabic, I understand what they're saying. And I can respond by using some words, but not in the right order.
Yeah, so we listen to native speakers, and then we can we don't have to go to a classroom, but some people have to go to a classroom and learn if you're not in a native speaking country.
Yeah.
I can, I went to classes, I can write a little bit of Arabic, I can write names, I can write words like grade 1. I can write the alphabet.
Zarin, are you
alphabet,
ready?
I can write
Zarin, are you ready?
letters and words.
No, I don't know how to share. I will practice it next.
If you move your cursor on the screen and you go down, you will find a green button at the picture at the bottom. It says share screen. Just tap on it. First open your presentation.
Yeah, I open it and it's saying screen.
Okay, go.
Screen
If you move your cursor around, there's a black line at the bottom or at the top of the page. And then it says in green share screen. Just tap on it and then choose the screen that you want to share.
Zarin, do you see participants?
There you go. She's doing it. She's doing it.
She started.
Yeah, I did it.
Yes.
No, you just need to be in the screen that you want to share.
Yes.
Yeah, now choose the one that you want to share. They're all there.
I have to open.
Yeah, first open it so that it's open on your desktop.
Hold on, let her. Maybe she has. Okay, maybe she can do it up.
Can see.
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
Phases. And this is the picture. Moon Diary is the name of my activity. And here is the steps. You will make a moon diary starting tonight for the next 5 nights. Go outside with your family member and look up at the sky. Draw the night sky on pages of notes. Talk with your family member about moon phases. Simple activity. That's it. That's it, Mr.
you scroll up a little bit, Zara?
Yes.
Please. More up.
Daddy, that's the moon.
Yes. Yes.
The activities. So first you make the activities,
Yes.
or you save them in the library.
Yeah, I saved the picture in the library and I typed the instructions.
Okay.
So how did this get you? How does help to get you to know your students better?
When they will submit, there are no students.
Huh?
Okay, but assume how they will do, what they will do.
They
So
will
that-
draw the moon phases for 5 days and then they will submit the pictures and their observations.
And what will you learn from your students?
I will know about them, that how they are interpreting this, how they are observing the moon and how they're drawing.
Well, yeah, I could tell you that, you know, you can figure out if they're artistic, how artistic they are,
Yes.
how creative they
Yes.
are. Some students may want to depict the moon using words. So that means that's a
Yes.
different type of talent that they have. Some
Yes,
students,
and it will be, extramural learning apart from pen and pencil, traditional learning, apart from traditional learning. It will make them excited. At least they will go outside and see the sky. And
I think some of them will see more things than the moon. They will see stars and shooting stars and moving things.
right.
Yeah.
And they will observe other things than only the moon. And they will also tell you, I saw this and that. And maybe they see an owl or some
So
night creatures also.
you will learn, you should be able to determine what students are abstract thinkers because they're going to depict the moon in a certain way. And then what students are concrete thinkers because they're going to try to draw the moon perfectly as how they see it, right? So these are going to probably be more your scientific people, whereas your abstract thinkers are going to see the moon differently in their own way. And these are going to be more of your creative people who are going to probably go into the humanities. These people also may be a little bit more compassionate than the concrete people, right? The practical people. So you can learn a lot about who your students are. That's an excellent activity. Drawing is an excellent to learn about people.
Yeah.
I think some will also see shadows and
Some may be
shapes on the
shadows.
moon.
Yep.
Especially for lower grades, yes. Also, they love drawing.
Those who
They-
are, those shapes and things on the moon, they will start talking about, they will also tell you about visits to the moon and what the moon looks like and the craters on the moon and everything like that. The astronauts will tell you about that.
Some students may even have their parents go out there and buy them a telescope, which tells you
Yes.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll get hooked onto this and start studying it more.
Yes, yes, yes. That's how it's done. They get interested in their subject.
Some students may they might not even want to talk about the moon. They might want to talk about more abstract things about life. So they might get into more existential. You might find out that you have existential students, which is that's one of Gardner's. Isn't that one of Gardner's learning existential, right? Existential
Perspectives, learning perspectives, yes.
So, it's you can learn a lot about. That's actually, whether you know it, Zarin, or not. That's actually a really good activity.
Yes, yes, yes. I like it. I'll try it.
Yeah, very
I'm
nice.
gonna try that myself. Actually, I'm gonna try that because it that's a powerful tool.
Yes.
As a social scientist, right? And you all are social scientists. We social scientists, we collect different types of data, right? We don't just collect test data and writing samples, right? We also collect drawings, right? because it helps in in qualitative research. So you have two types of research. You have qualitative research and quantitative research. Quantitative research is they try to find the answers why things happen, right? Cause and effect. These are more your science. These are more your hard sciences. Like right now, the scientists who are trying to fix COVID or find a vaccine for COVID, they're doing quantitative research, right? But then people like us, social scientists, we can do quantitative research, but we tend to do a lot of qualitative research. And that is by looking is qualitative research is stories. So we collect data based on different types of stories. And there's different ways we can tell these stories. There's something called narratives, where we get the stories, where we actually get stories from people, narratives. All right. So we have people tell their story. So if you ever watch a documentary, it's normally done in narrative form, or sometimes it's done in narrative form, where the actual people who highlight it get to tell their stories about their life. So we learn about how people live, especially people who are in a specific category. So maybe some some obscure tribe in Kenya, Rose, and you want to tell how they live their daily life. You would probably do that. You can do that through a narrative.
Narrative, yes.
Um, then you have something called phenomenology. Phenomenology. And this is when you tell stories based on a phenomenon that people experience. You know, the phenomenon right now that everybody's concerned with is COVID-19. So I'm pretty sure there's social scientists right now doing phenomenology research about how people are living, how people lived or their experiences with COVID. You know, that 14-day, you know, how was it like living for 14 days with COVID, or being in quarantine for 14 days? Or how was it like being in lockdown? What was the experiences people had being in lockdown? That would be, we call that phenomenology. And then you have ethnography. All right. Ethnographs are, again, going back to that that's obscure tribe in Kenya. How do they live? What are what's their culture? How do they what are the nuances in their culture? So that's more of a group. Whereas the narrative, you're telling individual stories. The ethnograph, you're telling stories of an entire people.
Community.
Community, exactly. Community is the best word of community. Then you have how many was that? Phenomenology, narrative, ethnograph. Then you have case studies, and this is when you
Case study.
this is when you do research based on a problem, and you're trying to find what are the common features of that problem among many different cases or one case. So it helps you kind of solve the problem. We do, a lot of teachers do case studies when they do their master's degree. So normally universities, your last project or one of your last projects will be a case study.
Yeah, like journalists also, they do case studies. For example, for the murderer.
Journalists can do case studies, absolutely. That's how they tell the story. So qualitative research is about telling stories from different perspectives. I got one more. So I said narrative, phenomenology, case study, ethnography. Which one am I missing? I feel like I'm missing one. Hold on a second. Phenomenology, narrative, narrative, case study.
Hello, Ray.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, that's
This Ray, next to you.
That's the four I can think of right now. Why am I missing one? Hold on a second. Missing one. Which one am I?
Now, yes.
Okay.
Let's see, which one am I missing? Phenomena. There's 5 approaches: narrative, phenomenology, ethnography, case studies. Which one am I missing? Or is it only 4
There
approaches?
is one more, yes.
Therefore,
Hold on a second. It's still too early in the morning. Phenomenology, narrative, phenomenology. Oh, grounded theory. That's what it is. Grounded theory.
Yeah, theory, yeah.
Grounded theory is when you create a theory about how people live. So you come up with certain types of theories. So why South African people who live in a certain region do certain things. So you come up with a theory. So this is how we tell stories. And it's important for teachers to be able to look at their students, collect data, so they can tell stories about them based on one of those 5 approaches. So I don't want to get too much into that. That's an advanced class, but that's how we tell stories as teachers. We tell them narratives, phenomenology, grounded theory, ethnographs, or case studies. So collecting that data, in each one of these, you have to collect data in different ways, various sources of data. So that moon presentation or activity is very good, Zara. Very good, unique way to collect data. Okay. Your mic shining.
Shine, you have to fix your mic.
It's a shorten her wire. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's to shorten the wire. Probably just move the.
Okay now?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
hear you now. It's a shorten your wire. I know it
Here
is.
now?
Yeah, you kind of low. Turn your mic up.
Can you hear now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes? Yes, yes. I loved Renette's presentation also. It was fantastic. She went a little in depth in the differentiation part. I loved it. And I loved Zarin's also. I feel that this app has an opportunity for repeated practice also. The students can make more observations once the discussions are done in class with the teacher. They can go ahead and they can repeat their observations once again. And there is creativity here and high level order thinking.
Yeah, thinking, yes.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't you share your screen, Shani? Show us what you have.
I haven't created a screen on for Verso app, but I can just tell you what I understood.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Yes, yes. I feel this app provides clarity. First and foremostly, I feel this app provides clarity while teaching remotely. Number 2, I feel it enhances collaboration with video, audio, and images. I also feel that it can be used to support speaking and learning. I feel the students can design their own. If it is math, they can design their own math problems and even ask their peers to solve. So it helps students designing their own problems.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know it's that deep. I went only for survey part, and I found out that for survey part needs only higher grades. After doing the survey, they tell you what happened after the lesson. I didn't go, but when I saw Renette and Zarin, then it's I'll go deep also and create an activity.
Yeah, there are 2 parts to the app. One part of the app is strictly learner profiling. where you're just taking surveys and you're getting information on the front end before a class even starts, right? And then there's the other part of the app where you're getting information on the back end. And that's what makes it is a good, very learning profiling application. And because learning profile can be difficult for a lot of teachers. So it helps streamline the process and helps you. Remember, when you're teaching, if you see yourself as a social scientist, it'll help you become a better teacher. You're more than just somebody who walks in the classroom and gives information to students. You're a social scientist. Okay, look at it that way. If you look at yourself as a social scientist, you're going to be doing research to figure out what's the best ways you can promote learning transfer. All right. Is Miriam here today?
Yeah.
No, Miriam's not with us. What about who's
Ray, I would just like to conclude.
Oh, you're not finished?
No. I would just as you mentioned about learning profiles,
Uh-huh.
I feel we can identify 3 different digital learning profiles here: the Diege learner, the hybrid learner, and an in-school learner.
Uh-huh.
We can identify these learners through this Verso app.
Mm-hmm.
What is the 3?
Hybrid learner, Diege learner.
I think so it's DigiAge, right? DigiAge.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, that digital immigrants and digital native, you know. So then for us, we are immigrants because we don't know, we didn't grow up with the tablets, phones, but them now they're good.
They are very heavy users of internet.
The DH learner,
the social media.
heavy use social media, and who have not mixed it with learning. They are mostly heavy social media. They use the social media very heavily.
Yes.
And then you have the hybrid learner, which uses technology with a critical mindset and out of school learning.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have an in-schooler learner who uses technology but does not believe that they can facilitate learning process, that it can facilitate learning process. So I feel this app can show us all these 3 different digital learning profiles.
No, and I agree.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing I want to say about that. It's our job to make all learners kind of know and be familiar with all different types of learning styles. And this is going to make them become more versatile people, citizens.
Yes.
And not just focus on one type of learning style. That's one of the Gardner's, when you talk about multiple intelligence theory, that's one of the flaws in that theory, because it kind of says, well, some teachers look at it like, well, my student is they're more of a audio learner, so I'm only going to give them audio. No, just because they are more audio doesn't mean they shouldn't be introduced to other things, right? Because the reality is everything's not going to be in audio for them, right?
Yes.
Well, my student is more of a kinesthetic learner, so I got to make sure they're always moving around. No, there's going to be some situations where the student has to stay in one spot. And they have to learn how to be sitting in one spot and still engage the lesson. So be very careful with multiple intelligence theories, because I think sometimes people send the wrong message that you only have to cater to that student's needs. No, you just need to be aware that this may be a good way to get them started, but you also need to be able to expand their ability to learn in many different situations. All right, Renette, you had your hands up.
Yeah, I want to ask Shani to write for us those 3 types of learners, please.
Okay, can you put that in the chat?
If you go in the article, Renette, this one, the one that
I can share my screen, Renette. I can
Yeah,
share
I
it.
cannot, what
Okay.
even the names are, I just heard the hybrid and what.
Yeah,
Shall I
there's in
share
the
my
article,
screen?
the article that is in this week's reading. You're in the article.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, but share
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. It's
Shiny,
fine.
share your
Share
screen so
screen,
she,
Yeah, yeah,
Shani.
sure.
share your
Sure,
screen so
sure.
she can see it.
And the more it says, the more they grow up, the article says the more they grow up, the more they learn in different styles.
Mhm.
Okay.
You know, like boys get vocabularies really well from Minecraft. And you find out they don't speak English, but they know the words already in science. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
die
yeah.
age. Okay,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
okay, thanks.
So these are Shining's notes, I believe.
Die age.
Yes,
Learn.
yes.
Yeah, by age, goes with the age, yes.
Ray, this is what I uploaded for my homework.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm. Mm.
Just,
So
so
this is for Renette. So I think she wants to see the three.
Okay, I saw it.
You
Thanks.
saw it?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
And so it goes with the age, Renette. The more you grow up, the more you learn differently.
Yes, yes, I understand now. Yes.
And that's why it's important that we show students different.
I learned at past 50, I learned about digital learning.
You are digital
Using
immigrant.
apps. Suddenly, when I taught for 6 weeks this year, I
Everyone-
suddenly had to learn all these things. I never made a PowerPoint before or anything. I made it now for the first time.
Everyone here is a digital immigrant.
Our students are really native, you know.
Yeah.
But you still have some students who are learners, but they live in a country where they can't access such things. They still
Right.
grow up just like us.
Well, I always say that
My son at the age of 3 deleted all my husband's, he's an auditor. He deleted all his files on his bookkeeping. I don't know how. He passed the password and he deleted everything. He had to start all over. We had a business and he deleted all the accounting.
Wow.
All the figures, everything on the age of 3.
Wow.
We went by the password, passed it, and he deleted everything.
He's a hacker.
Yes.
Yeah, but you make a good point, Rose, that even though a student is in a certain generation, they may still be an immigrant because of their household. So if you take somebody who, a poor family who can't afford the technology, that child is not going to be a native, right?
No.
He's going to be an immigrant because he's going to be behind versus the family who always has a tablet in a child's hands since they were 2 years old.
They grew up, yes.
They grew up with it. So
Yeah, and I have my one cousin have a 2-year-old boy, and he showed me some photos on a tablet, and it got frozen. And I said to him, "What now?" He says, "Don't worry, just reset it. Just reset it. I will fix it."
Right.
He's 2 years old.
Yes. Yes.
He said, "Reset it. It will work again."
They don't, for instance, computer test anxiety is a real thing, but I think what you're going to find is in these this generation, Generation Alpha. I'm sorry, Generation Alpha. So let's go over the generations real quick. So now most of us are Generation X's. We have any baby boomers here? People born
Yes, me.
Okay. So
Now wait, which year? I think.
All right. I think everybody
In
else
the
may be a Gen
60s.
X or maybe Shiny. Shiny, are you a baby boomer? Or you're
Which year is baby boom?
What is
baby boomer?
What is baby boomer?
Baby boomer is, all right, let me pull it up for you guys. Share screen.
Boomers.
No, I'm not a baby boomer, no.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. Everybody here should be an Xer.
46
Everyone
after the
here should be
World War. 1, 2.
yeah, everyone here should be a Generation Xer. So, you know, my grandfather's generation was my grandfather was
Depression.
the greatest generation, which is all we consider all of these the greatest generation. So, the Depression era, the War II era, the post era, we all consider that the greatest generation. All right, and then you have baby boomers, which are my mother was a baby boomer. My mother and father were baby.
Our
Yeah,
parents.
my mom and dad
I
were.
am a baby boomer.
Yeah, my dad also there.
Okay. And then
Generation Jones.
don't worry about
Boomer
that. They're
too.
still boomers. They're still baby boomers.
Okay.
And
I'm
then
here, boomers too. We're still there.
Yeah, I mean boomers too also.
no,
I am like Generation X.
X.
yeah. So don't go by because some of these, I still think you're more of a Generation Xer, Renette.
Yes, I'm Generation X.
So Generation X, all right. So all these now Generation X, we grew up with technology, but it wasn't really integrated in our lives. So we
Yes.
knew what a computer was, but we didn't own a
We
computer.
grew up with the VCR.
Right. So, but a lot of us didn't own it, or we weren't familiar with the technology, or we could only do very basic things with it. Very, very basic things, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we only listen to TV and not TV, radio.
Right.
Ah,
So,
yes.
so then you have, this is kind of
My
off.
son is a millennial.
Actually, I don't like this one. This is off. Let me find a better. Oh, the generations by year infograph. All right, let's see if we have a better one. All right. Yeah. Okay. This looks like it'll be a little bit better. So this is the greatest generation here. Then you got your baby boomers. Then you have Generation X, which is pretty much us, Generation X. Okay.
I'm on the edge of baby boomer.
Uh,
I know about him a lot, yes.
and then you have
I touch it.
millennials. Right?
I'm a millennial.
I'm a millennial, yeah.
Okay.
I'm Generation
All right.
Generation X.
Shamaila and me, right?
Me also.
Yes, we are
You're born in
millennials.
the same year. Yeah.
And then you have Generation Zers. All right. Now you have Generation Alpha. So my kids are Generation Alpha. So anywhere from 2015 to now, they're Generation Alpha. Generation Alpha are the true digital natives. Okay.
Oh.
Yes.
They're the
Yes.
true ones because they're even going to be better than the Generation Zers. Right? Because the Generation Zers, they still had like antiquated, what we consider, what the alphas would consider antiquated, right? So they they still have technology, or they remember technology that was not as AI. The alphas, they have AI now and adaptive learning. So the Generation Alphas are your true digital natives, because the Generation Zers can still remember when everything wasn't automated, all right? But the Generation Alphas, all they know is AI. All they know is virtual learning. All they know is tablets. Generation Zers, the parents of Generation Zers didn't buy them tablets at 3 years old. They didn't get a tablet until maybe 12 or 13 or 14. You follow me? But the Generation Alphas, they're getting tablets at 2. They're getting cell phones at 3 years old, 4 years
When
old.
they're born.
So these,
Yeah, actually.
so you
If
got,
they were born, the gift is a phone.
At 3 years old,
My daughter's 2.5 and she has an iPad.
at 3 years old, they know how to turn it on. They know how to swipe. They know how to do this. And
Yes.
here's the main thing. They will die without the internet. They don't understand life
True.
without the internet.
That's true.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very
So they're dire age.
it's going to be very
Right.
interesting teaching these guys because they're going to need the internet, and you're going to have to learn a profile of them. On top, Generation Alpha in the Generation Zers, they're really born in this age of social justice. And this is why you see a lot of the things you see going on in America right now. It's because the people, and even in Nigeria and all over the world, you got these kids, these Generation Zers, they're born with the mindset of social justice. So they're not going to tolerate certain things from the government because they have been taught that everything must be fair and everything must be right and everything must be. So this is why the Generation Zers, they don't have any problem with homosexuality because they've been taught.
Generation Zero.
They've been taught from the very, very beginning that it's okay, right? That you must tolerate. Generation Zers, Generation Alphas, they've been taught that you must tolerate, okay? Whereas millennials, some millennials may still have a problem with it. Generation Xers may still have a problem with it. Baby boomers may still have a problem with it, right? But the Zers and the Alphas, they're not gonna have a problem with it. They're not gonna have a problem with, when I was growing up, to see a woman with purple hair, it would be amazingly crazy to see somebody with purple hair, right? Or someone with a nose ring in their nose, it would be a little bit off. But in Generation Z and Generation Alpha, these things that they really believe in because they've been taught
Tattoos.
and they've been watching movies that promoted social justice. And you know where that idea really comes from? It comes from social scientists. Because you remember a couple minutes ago, I talked about qualitative research and quantitative research. The whole goal of qualitative research is to create social change, to topple the status quo. Okay, think about what you see now. Imagine this. Could you imagine, Renette? Could you imagine 30 years ago a Black woman would be in the royal family in Britain?
No, never.
It would be, you would never.
It's like Miss Universe and those things, you will never find another color but white.
You would never even consider the idea that a Black person would be in the royal family in the UK.
No.
But in 2020, you have a Black person. Well, I don't know. They're not a part of the royal family anymore. but technically, they still are a part of the royal family. There's somebody that a non-Anglo married into
non-white,
right? Married into the royal family, and it's accepted. It would not have been accepted 30 years ago. It wouldn't have been accepted 20 years ago. Think about it. Think about it like this: Princess Diane was not accepted.
Yeah.
20 years ago, Princess Diane was not accepted. In fact, what made her such of a anomaly was that she was from the other side of the tracks, right? But a lot of people did not accept her. She was loved by outsiders. Okay, so think about that as a social justice or a social change, and as being a social scientist, because you can help your students navigate that. That's why teacher beliefs are so important, especially now, because these alphas and these Generation Zers are dealing with issues that we didn't have to deal with. They're dealing with issues like gender change. do I really want to be a man? You know what? Maybe I want to be a female.
No.
That's craziness.
But this is the issues they deal with. So who's going to help navigate them through those issues? Because if their father is a Generation Xer or maybe even a baby boomer, he can't go to his dad talking about he wants to be a female, right? His dad's going to go nuts.
Not acceptable.
Right? So who do they turn to? And then how, as a teacher, how do you deal with the student who comes to you and says, you know, I want to be something other than what I was born, right? So it's important that we become social scientists, just so we know and aware of the things that are going on around us. We're the most important social scientists out there because we are dealing with these generations who are defining the future. And again, the way they see things, Netflix and Hulu and these other and social media is really redefining everything. And it comes from qualitative research. Because the definition of qualitative research is to create social change. And that trickles down into the society. So now there was a time, Shining, that celebrities never were political. You know, Ronald Reagan it was odd to see a formal actor become a governor and the president of the United States. That was an odd thing. Marilyn Monroe, wouldn't say anything political. Earl Flynn and, you know, these famous actors, John Wayne, they weren't political. They were just celebrities. But now, in 2020, celebrities are your politics. They control politics now. Why? Because they have been taught as Generation Zers and some of the millennials, the tail end of the millennials born in the 90s, they have been taught that social change is important, that everyone must create social change. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
Good.
And as a social scientist, we have to be able to address those goods and bad. You know, is this really a good thing? Should all things of the past be toppled over?
No, not everything. You have to have balance.
Yeah, there should be a balance.
If I had you read my textbook, my qualitative research textbook, my qualitative research textbook basically starts off saying, for the most part, that qualitative research is out to basically not erase, but change everything from the past. And you have a mindset of people who really believe that anything from the past is bad, antiquated, no more good, and you gotta get rid of it, you gotta change it. And unfortunately, this is what Joe Biden and Harris campaign, they're promoting in the Democratic Party in America. They promote that qualitative approach, whereas the Republicans promote more of a quantitative approach, right? But as the people in the middle, as citizens and as teachers, we have to really examine, okay, do we erase everything from the past? Is everything in the past wrong?
Maybe the millennials, millennials may feel, or the Generation Z may feel, but not us.
We can't erase this. We can't.
Well,
but I would suggest
actually the past made today. It's because of the past that we are here.
Yeah, we learn from the experience, right?
Exactly. History teaches you, and where you have done wrong, you will be able to correct yourself, and you would make your students or your next generation prepare for it. Unfortunately, these young kids of digital age, they don't know how to be street smart.
They, whatever they want, it is at their disposal. They don't know how to struggle to get something.
Well,
One
So
touch.
this
Yeah,
is,
they don't know how to
they don't know.
persevere.
Exactly,
They cannot.
exactly. And they absolutely, you're absolutely right, Renette. And secondly, they don't know if they get into a fight, how they have to tactfully deal with it without fighting.
Yes.
right.
So
Yeah, and
they are
don't know
not
how to.
understanding, they are not using those mindsets the way we have been trained or we have been
No.
brought up with.
Well,
So
and
these
again,
days,
They don't know
education
hardship.
and everything is becoming more difficult.
Practicality.
and again, that points to
And
Practical.
that points to this.
I found
Practicality.
who is talking?
And again,
I
Right.
found I was teaching all the South African teachers in the vacation in the summer school. I was training them. Not one of them knew that knew much about 21st century learning. They learned a lot from me, and they are generation millennials.
Mhm.
They are young, but they don't know 21st century teaching. A few of them, like 2 of the 30 that I was training, knew about this. 2 of them, and they were 30 in front of me. And I'm a between baby boomers and Generation X. I'm much older than them and way back generations back. And I told them about about the new way, the 21st century teaching. They were hanging on my lips. They were fighting to have me as the trainer. Other people were training that were Generation X and millennials, and they were not happy with the way they were trained by them. They said, yeah, they just talk and talk and talk, and it's all teacher-centered. But when I was presenting, I did like Ray told us in the TESOL class, get them up, get them moving, make them do things, everything like we do now for these kids today. And they enjoyed it so much. They were laughing all the time. So that the woman came to me and said to me, you must slow down, please. This is the administration building. You cannot make such noise. But they were excited and they were happy to be in the training class. I mean, it's their vacation. And they couldn't travel because of COVID-19. They were all caught up here in a training room because they wanted their salaries. We got 100% salaries that time. For being at school for 1 hour of training and 1 hour of teaching. So I had to bring up some training every day, and I had to make it exciting because the days when I used somebody else to train, they were bored. They told me afterwards, Ms. Renee, please, we want you to train, not anyone else. I said, why? They said, because your classes are interesting and the other people are boring. And these are millennials and the young people. Why didn't they come up with all this 21st century training?
Yeah, and again,
I learned from Ray in the
that
TESOL.
also tells you too, right? That just because somebody's in a certain group doesn't mean that they
grew up here.
They know this.
They know what's happening around them.
So you can have a Zier who's not good at technology, right?
Yeah.
So we also got to keep that in mind. And you can have a baby boomer who's great at technology because they always had technology in their hand, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like it's someone working in the company, you see? It's different. They grow up knowing this, they can do well. For example, in Kenya, we don't have online schools because children don't know the technology.
Right.
Teachers don't know.
Right.
My father-in-law is 83 years old and he uses Facebook and WhatsApp and everything.
Listen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know
It's about resources. It's about resources.
Parveen, he's a motivated learner.
Yeah, he's mashallah very motivated. Yeah.
The reality is that's where self-regulation comes in, right? When you're self-regulated, it doesn't matter what group you're in. When you're self-determined, it doesn't matter, right? That's the importance of self-regulation. I want to get one more person to present.
Excuse me, Ray. I have to leave. Thank you very much. I will watch the video. Okay.
All right, no worries. All right, we'll see you. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, Rose.
Bye.
One more.
Bye, Rose.
Shamila, do you want to present?
Ray, I honestly speaking, I had no idea that I had to make a presentation of what I had submitted.
No, you didn't have to make a
But
presentation. You didn't have to make a presentation.
Use what you submitted.
No, you
Yeah.
you didn't have to make a presentation. You just had to make a writing. So you can just share your writing.
Yeah.
These guys just went the extra mile. That's all.
They are amazing teachers, and I've learned so much from them being in this field for just a couple of years. I've learned a lot from you guys, but I can't share my screen at the moment because my system is updating itself.
No
So
problem.
what I have so far learned through this application is it's a very student teacher friendly application. And it is the kind of an application in which this teacher would be able to judge her students' understanding about a certain lesson, because it is the kind of activity that this teacher can indulge her students into after completing the task. Certain types of activities would enable the teacher to understand how much the student has understood the lesson by different response that the student will click on. And it will really make the activity interesting for the students and the teacher by after understanding whether they have got the lesson correctly or not. And then she can indulge them into different activities relating to this specific subject. This is what I would do. Since I'm not teaching, so I couldn't make it. I just did it hypothetically.
Shamil, so you're still a social scientist, okay?
Yeah. Obviously, we are learning. See, this is our phase of learning, because when we learn, we would be able to even master our teaching for our kids. This is what I am learning these days.
Absolutely. So you're still a social scientist.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have your kids try the app? Have them try it.
Yeah, I would definitely. They were busy throughout the week because of their exams and everything. But with these applications, I'm definitely going to involve them with this, so then I can learn from them and their response. How do they like the activity, and what else do they want to include in certain kind of applications?
Okay.
Shamaila, use it for their studies.
Is there anyone who has tried?
But it's very difficult to
Let them study on this. It will be great. Then you will know if they know the work.
Yes, exactly. But it's going to take a lot of time for me because I have to calculate my time between my 3 kids. So one is studying, so I have to listen from the other. The other 2 are working. So for me, making it is a little time consuming. So, but this is a very good activity that would enable how much they have understood. Yes, you're absolutely right, Renette.
Yes.
Is there anyone who has tried?
Huh?
Is there anyone who has tried this app with their students?
Yeah, there was a couple.
I started writing it out, but I didn't apply it really. I used the lesson from before. If you remember in Aspire School, Shani and Rose and Shamaila and Parvina, all of you were there. I was doing this photosynthesis lesson there in Aspire. I did my classes there.
No,
I used one of my workshops in the staff room. I was talking about the learning styles in one of my trainings, and I used it there in that classes. I taught the grade 6s that time. That's when I did it, and now I did it again in the few weeks that I was teaching, 6 weeks I was teaching here. I did it again on photosynthesis. I did it in a class, but I didn't use this app. I imagined how to use the app. I checked out the app, and then I imagined how I can put this lesson onto the app.
It was fantastic.
I didn't. I did the lesson before in real time when the students were in front of me, and I did it virtually now, online. Now I learned the app, so I put all 3 together.
All right.
Fantastic. It was fantastic.
Who is Saeed? Who is the XA?
Actually, this is me, it's Annie. Actually, in just at the moment when I sign in, I sign in from my ID.
Oh, okay.
Sorry for that. actually same like that. I didn't right now. I am not teaching right now, as you know my condition. So that's why just I put it. But when I open this Verso application, I find out that is really designed for with all complete features, which any teacher wants to in her classroom, especially in which we can easily not only interact, but also we can ensure the equality distribution and all the subject. We can collaboration, and at the same time, into the same application, we also we can go through numerous activities as well, and which is already and the benefit and especially the positive point of this Verso application is that in its library a lot of activities are there. Just we have to pick up, choose it, and we can go through it. So that's very nice. It's access and the other people and we can right now at the same room at the same application we can evaluate the students as well, their performance, who are activate, who are the active or active students, and who is participating like this one, who is responding. So I think so that's very nice, which I feel it.
All right, good. You said you're currently not teaching right now?
Right now, no. Due to my accident, I am not teaching.
Okay. All right. You're still a social scientist. You're still a social scientist. Praveen, we'll close off with you.
Yeah. Okay. So I felt this app is a very good one for especially student-centered, because I feel that it will be a good start for a warm-up session, and I can use it also for building a background knowledge for the students, and where knowledge also can be transferable, you know, from a discussion point of view, I can transfer it to an assignment or what else can I say? What is that? High order thinking, you know? Yeah. So they can respond, everyone can have, we can give their thoughts, opinions, and you know, after I post a question of the activity of anything, so that they can give their thoughts or opinions. And I also can assign it during the class, and discuss a controversial issue or something, use it as a exit ticket. So it's all about student-centered, and it's a good one. Verso.
And to understand the learner's profile.
How can you,
exactly.
What do you know about your learners from this?
Yeah, and know about what they think and how they think, or who is stagnant or who is active, right?
We can develop them further.
Yeah.
So,
and the best part in this Verso app is that, you know, they can post their voice or the message, you know, without the fear of being judged by their classmates or anyone, because their names are not there, right? So that's the best part. So without fear, they can post their voice and say their response, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Comment on something.
Absolutely.
I found this, the teenagers here, especially here in Saudi, they are very scared to talk in the classroom. The grade 10s especially, they don't want to say anything. They will talk in the chat only. And they will not speak out. They will not speak out at all. They were very quiet. I was teaching them physics and algebra, and they will never answer me unless I really call them by the name and tell them, now you have to answer.
But that's the problem here, yeah.
No, they didn't speak.
Yeah. That's the problem. So
they will write it in the chat. So I had to find all the answers in the chat. They will not write, or they will not talk at all. They will not speak.
Yeah, that was what I feared. You know, we have to be behind them or post. Yeah, that's the thing. So I feel it's a good app for grade 5 and above. For the primary, I don't think so. But you know, the children who are really active and they want to participate, yeah, they will do it. But others, we have to be behind them. That's what I feel.
The grade 7 students were very active. Yeah. They were talking too much, or not too much. They were talking too much. And then the lower grades, like grade 6 and 5, we found they talk too much, and there's some children want to take over and want to answer all the
Yeah,
questions. They don't even give
questions.
us.
That's nice. Yeah.
In that grade
Wow.
5, 6, they didn't want to give anyone a chance. If one starts talking, you have to block them, to stop them and tell them,
Yeah.
keep quiet now. Some others have to get a chance. And when I took the teachers also, I find it's so nice to see the online, they send the teachers hearts and love, and they show their cat and they show their everything. And that's how the
That's
teachers,
nice. Yeah.
one of my teachers, Harry, he is so popular with the
Yeah.
students, everybody. He's the English teacher, and all the students love him, the great
Okay.
ones. They are crazy about this teacher because he knows everything about every student. He knows the cat's name.
That's
He knows
nice.
what clothes they wear, Superman or Batman, whatever clothes. You have your Batman suit on today, and like this. Where is this? Where is
Yeah.
your cat? He knows every student by name, and he knows what their animals are and everything. So Harry is doing a very good job of student profiling. And then I find other teachers don't even know the students' names. They don't know who they are talking to. And I find some teachers are so, the math teacher, for instance, he starts his session with music and with like the rock coming in, and even the parents are saying that when they hear this music, they know now it's the math session and they want to jump up and go see what is the math teacher teaching today, because the teacher starts with
Wow,
this
that's nice.
entrance in his math class. That's also the grade 1 students, and the Arabic teacher also has a very good connection with these students. So he knows every student, he knows everything about them, and they follow him by, he's the hero. I mean, he puts up his hand like this and told them they must say a poem with expression, you know. And you can see the videos that the students are sending. The students are imitating their teacher. You can see they love their teacher. And the science teacher, Ray, this is what I all learned from my observations to the teachers, because I'm not teaching, I'm observing the teachers. And I go to their classes and I check how they are teaching. And the science teacher got them all so excited that they all dig out their parents' plants to show the roots and the leaves and the stem and the flowers and all the parts of the plants. They have their parents come out in the garden and make a video of them when they dismantle the plants and show them all the parts. And they have to see, the teacher have to see this video. So that shows me that this teacher is very effective in his teaching, because his students go outside and make the parents make a video of them where they show every part and everything. And also another one, the science teacher, all students showed him a current, an electric current, and they showed them a battery and a lamp and how they connected it. And they made videos and sent it to him, how they connected the batteries and make the light glow and things like that. And they showed the energy changes from electrical energy to light energy. They showed the teacher with videos. So these teachers, you can see they are very effective because their students are so eager to send them in the discussion room on Coursera, send them all these videos to show how what they have learned.
Good, good. Well,
they know their students very well. You can see that.
We're a little bit over the session time. I want you guys just the whole point of this session and activity was to talk about the learning profile and how we collect data. Make sure you realize that you are a social scientist, and that's one of your responsibilities as a teacher, is to collect data on your students so you can get to know who they are and deal with their wants, needs, and expectations. We also covered how a practical use of using the app, the Verso app, and there are other apps that you can use. We also talked about qualitative research and some of the advantages and disadvantages of qualitative research. But as a social scientist, you want to tell the story, right? And there are 5 different ways to tell the story. You can tell it using case studies, phenomenology, narratives, grounded theory, or ethnographs. Okay. So that's today's session. We will post the assignment for next week on Monday. We'll see you next week.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Take care.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.